Welcome to
All right, here we go. We're going live right now.
on
Tom is up in Augusta.
Problem and inquiry-based learning.
We've got about 30, 40 people in the room.
The kindergarten
What we're going to do is wait on Tom's cue.
At Pond Cove Elementary School.
We'll hang out.
Thank you so much for coming.
Cruise over to where Tom's at.
I know I had a fun day so far.
We'll have Tom, and we'll be ready to get
I'd love to start my PDs. Well, let me back up a little bit.
Just a little background on what we're doing here. This is the MEA, Maine Education Association, Spring Conference. They're up in Augusta right now. Couldn't make it today, but I wanted to be able to at least join virtually. Tom's about to talk project-based learning, inquiry-based learning. But for the most part, we're trying to talk about different entry points.
Always start off with
for beginner, for intermediate and advanced user. So right now we've got people going around the room, scanning QR codes, just investigating PBL.
Had a chance to read the
It's
comments.
my understanding that we do have majority of the people that are here are beginners. So our goal today is to try to shift mindsets, get people to believe that they can make this transition.
It's only work if somebody makes you do it.
So
I think that line is
kind of a little background on where we're at. And we'll wait for Tom to join us.
So this is the idea.
While we wait here.
As I said to you earlier, all of my sessions, I try to be multimodal. I try to have moments where you talk to each other. I try to have moments where you get up and move around. All of the resources that I supplied to you today are going to be available to you online on that Google Doc. That should have been working if I used my QR generator correctly. And so if you need anything, let me know. The session is titled on our piece of paper, wherever our schedule is, project-based learning, right? I took the liberty to add 2 more words to it on purpose. Attended an ed camp at Wainfleet a month ago, and we had a PBL session. And in that PBL session, this woman from New Hampshire, this teacher from New Hampshire, said that she didn't like problem-based or project-based as its title because it gives a false connotation to what it actually gives. I thought that was so interesting. And so inquiry-based is what she wanted it to be called. Like, I know it's just a tiny little word, but sometimes syntax means so much. And in this case, this is what it is. It's about kids figuring stuff out the whole way through. And it'll be cool. We'll look at lots of examples of it today, and we'll have conversations. On the ed camp style conversation, I really want today to go that direction. And as I said to you a minute ago, this will probably be different than some of the sessions that you've been in today. I really want a discussion. I am not an expert. If you came here to learn from an expert, I am so sorry. And I'm not offended if you go to another class because you're bummed out that I'm not an expert. At Ed Camp, you can vote with your feet, they call it. And like Becca and I said in our last session, if this thing isn't doing what you want it to do, I am not offended. Give me a high five on the way out the door. Go home to your family. Go have a drink. Whichever of the two you'd rather do. But if you'd rather stay here, we've built in kind of an interesting afternoon. So without further ado, here is if I can make it work. Here's the Google Doc that you just went to. Yay. We're going to start out the day with what we need to succeed. Spend about 5 minutes on that. I try to put time on here because I don't know if you notice this, but I talk a lot. So I try to keep myself on a schedule. With 5 minutes here, we're going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes with these questions. We're going to talk a lot today about an educational experience. A learning experience.
Well, Tom's starting. I don't hear some texting him.
That was
trying to get his volume on.
We're just like, oh man, I loved it. It was so cool.
Texting Becca, she's in the
and then we're going to
now.
talk about why it was so cool.
Hopefully we can get the audio. Seems like
after that, we're going to talk about what is PBL? What is this thing that you're here at 2:45 on a Saturday to talk about? Why would you come here to do that? And we're going to look at a great video from Edutopia.
One of our
try to put in some resources for you. My Twitter handle's up here. Edutopia's Twitter handle is here. There's great resources out there on Twitter. If you're not a Twitter person, do yourself a massive favor and get on Twitter for education. Okay? Don't go on Twitter thinking that it's only for people to show their abs. Yes, that piece is there, but you can avoid that piece too. Billy wants something. And so I love it. I got into it about 2 years ago, and there are so many good things about it. So I know it might be scary. Okay. Get on there, look around before you know it. You're gonna be hooked. It's awesome. Okay. You lost the thing.
Sorry. Is your internal mic on?
You're sabotaging me, dude. That.
What about now?
Tell him I'll fix it in a minute.
He says that he could hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. So everything's fine?
I can hear you now, man.
Sorry, we were going to get to that in just a moment.
Sorry. My bad.
That guy that you saw on the screen here, this is Billy, and Billy is going to be with us in just a moment. Billy was going to be a co-presenter, and he said, Tom, I'm really proud of you. You made some good improvements in your PD, so I want you to go out on your own today. But I'll be right next to you if you need me. So every once in a while I might go, Billy, this really sucks, dude. Help me out. So anyways.
I'm here to virtually hold the hand.
We all know the real reason, Billy. Okay. We are going to talk just a minute about PBL and the 4 C's. Anybody know what the 4 C's are? Awesome. I'm not telling you. We are going to have a little mini PBL of our own today. And you are the group that's going to go through that PBL. And I will give you breadcrumbs along the way. But I would like you to figure out something on your own. Again, inquiry-based learning. And that's the idea. Now, the coolest part about this is it doesn't have to be 8 months of a project. We're only going to spend about 20 minutes before you go into something different. And in that 20 minutes, we're going to do a mini PBL. Cool? Hopefully give you an example of how it goes. This part, number 5, we'll get to in a minute. I'm not going to read it out loud yet. You can read it up in your head if you want, but I have a certain way I want to say it. And then teacher experience, that's when Billy will come into the scene. If there was an expert that I knew, he would be the guy. He's in his 4th year of PBL right now. The stuff he's doing with his kids is unbelievable. And I'm really excited for him to be here as an expert, even if it is virtually. And finally, my favorite part of today is number 7. This, I told you I started PD with my staff this year. This is the best thing that they rate on my Google feedback form every single time. Sandbox time. Sandbox time is time for you to actually synthesize what we did today. Because you never get that time as educators. Ever. And so today, whether I'm done or not, 20 minutes before our day is over, I'm going to stop. And I'm going to encourage you to think about what can you do to get a PBL started in the next couple weeks. Even if it's a 30-minute PBL, even if it's a day PBL, whatever you can do, grab some standards. How could we get a PBL going? The cool thing is for that 20 minutes, I'll be here. Billy will be here. And so it might be weird to be like, hello, and talk to him while he's in here. But he will be here to answer questions too. That sound like an all right day? Cool. The only other thing is the Google feedback form. You don't have to do it while you're in here. But if you could please, I love feedback on my PDs. It's the only way I'm going to get any better about how I do this. You're like, you're crazy, slow down. and the funny part is that was my feedback from my very first PD day. I don't think they said crazy, but they did tell me to slow down. So I'll try and focus on that. There are a ton of resources under here Billy and I have put together for you. I'm not going to get into those now, but the gallery pages that you looked at just a minute ago for our kinesthetic piece are here, and you can link there, and then all of that information is there for you as well. Okay? Perfect. What we need to succeed, there is a back channel. If you click on today's meet, it will bring you to our back channel page, which looks like this. Please post any thoughts or questions about PBL on today's meet. Just like in a classroom, there are people in this room right now who are not comfortable raising their hands. And that's okay. And we want to use technology to help them feel better. And so here is today's meet, which is a back channel that I have access to. If you have a question, if you want to say, hey, Tom, really nice pink tie, you could put any of that information here, and I will get back to you. This has worked out great in my PDs at school because people, again, that are just kind of sitting there and don't want to be like, they just type it in here, and then we get back to it later. Okay, so there's today's meet. Technology of some kind will help today if you have it. Doesn't mean you can't do it if you don't, but it will help as we go. An idea of your grade level standards. So I'm going to do something that's usually hard for me, which is to stop talking. For you, take 10 seconds. Think about something that's about to come up. Okay, keep that in your mind. Not as the only thing that you can do a PBL about, but some subject that's about to come up that maybe this could help. Okay, that's kind of what I just want you to keep in your mind. And then finally, willingness to take a risk. That's a big one today, because PBL is it's almost a little crazy, and you will need that willingness to take a risk to do this. Okay, now it's your turn to talk. And in my very first session, I had all my notes planned out, and I was so excited. And I had this great project with paper and markers. I was like, yes, this is gonna be great. And the woman sitting next to me said, oh, God, they do something with paper and markers in every PD. And I was like, oh, man. So, but then I told her, oh, perfect. More humor. I will tell this, that this happened this morning. Here's what I'd like you to do. In pods, six-ish, whatever pods you would like to be, or people you would like to be. I have 5 pieces of paper. If that's not enough, let me know and I'll get more. I would like you to answer the first question, 2A. Think of a great learning experience in your life. You're not allowed to just be with 2 people. You have to be with at least 4 people. Think of a great learning experience in your life. It could have happened when you were 6. Could have happened when you were 36. Could have happened when you were whatever age you could imagine. What was it? What did it look like? Where did it happen? What happened during it? What happened before it? What happened after it? Just talk to people around you. I'm going to assume with 4 people, a couple minutes apiece, somewhere in the area of what I put on there for 10 minutes, seems like a reasonable amount of time. We'll give you a 2-minute warning before I'm about to ring my lovely elementary chime. And does that sound okay? Are there any questions about that? Please try to team up with at least 2 other people. So like 3, 4 people, and that way you can have a nice little conversation. Cool? Cool. Thank you.
We don't take the paper though, right?
Not yet. That's for part 2B.
Perfect.
What's up, Tom? Can you hear me? Stop sharing now.
Whoa.
Stop sharing. Yeah, there you go. Hey.
Hey, we good?
You want to give us a glimpse of the room? Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
You got to be. My mic not good?
You're through those speakers and they're not very good.
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, that's gonna have to change when I.
So I'm gonna place this over there so you can see what's going on.
Right, but I'm gonna have you. Can you turn me up in those speakers later? Good. There we go. We want to see the room. Perfect. So, yes, I'll give a little narration. Tom's got the crew thinking of this question. Think of a great experience in your life. What was it? What did it look like? Please talk to your table mates or neighbors.
really scary.
Nice.
It's so hard. So you still have that part. Really rough, like really hard. I'll be honest, right now, like I mean, it was awful. I mean, everything's just like way down. It's really scary. I got it. Yeah. Yeah, like I just did this like stroke, with my kids, and I found this really cool website where you show dogs and how they interact with the brain, like receptors and like what? I don't get it, your brain. So like it broke it down in little teeny stuff and showed you and how it interacted and how it do so the kids could get it. Oh, so the game just continues to do this. So that's really cool. So like I learned that teaching students. So I just found out this week, so like right there, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Then you talk about sailing, I'm like, oh, I learned how to swim in water skiing. That was called learn by getting water. Right, there was cool. Anything cool about it. Right, well, it was cool was that I was able to succeed in that, right? Like, okay, that was like terrible. But like when I got it, right, I'm like rode it under the waves, and my mom, like Sarah mother gets out there and like drops a ski before she's even standing up, and she's like jumping the waves and flips. I'm like, all right, thanks, Mom. But like, you know, it's just it's just different kinds of experiences. And then the third area is I bought a house last year and I didn't have a realtor, so like I did all of that by myself. Right. So like I learned so much about percentages and different tools. Class, and like I did all of those components. So like that was a cool experience because I could talk to my students who were freshmen in high school who know concept of anything, right? Okay, what's that word? Like, that's what I owe my parents. Okay, yeah. So parents paying, same thing. You know, I guess so. I'm kind of struggling with what. Yeah. 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 Yeah, learn how to do it. Right. Yeah. The impact of the crash and burn. Literally, figuratively, however you want to look at that. I mean, you know, you usually come out of it figuring it out, but like I'm not paying this. Oh, okay, my mortgage would be cheaper and I can have a lot more space. Oh, okay. Oh, and it would be mine? Yeah. Like I would decide if the windows are gonna get fixed, or I would decide, like, yeah, whatever I want. Could be orange, who cares?
This is the worst part of having a schedule. Because I waited to do that for as long as possible. Trying to keep an eye on the clock at the same time. Because that's awesome. Your conversations were great. The stuff that you were sharing with each other that doesn't even happen on a regular basis. These conversations that you're having are amazing. So sorry to have to stop you. If you didn't have a chance to share, so, if you didn't have a chance to share, then I will give you a little more time. I'd like for your conversation to shift Just a little trick. Keep that learning in your mind. Now I want you to try and think about what was so good about it. What made it the conversation that you just had? Why did it come up? What was the point? Why did it stick in your mind? You had 8 bajillion things going around in your head. Why did that one thing stay in your mind? What are some characteristics of those things that you've talked about? Now here's my bread. 4 C's. Maybe they're maybe you will find them. Maybe you won't. I'm not going to tell you what's right or what's wrong at this point in time. We'll talk about the 4 C's later. For now, you have a piece of paper, you have at least one marker, and at least one person in the group who will step up and write on that piece of paper. So please write down common themes from your experience.
What do we type like this? Learning 4 C's, and we're gonna guess. I want this label.
No right around here.
Nice. Well, I don't know what you guys C's. I just was gonna guess it because I thought that was like the reason, like for me, like the stuff that was cool I learned in my classroom about drugs was because it's on a level that it's easier for somebody to understand it. I'm not a biology whiz, I don't understand it either. So it made it easier for me to teach it to my kids, and it made it easier for them to understand it. So what was relevant?
Or I just said there might be.
And for my house, it was critical. Right? Like I had to know that stuff, so I didn't get screwed. So like if I was uneducated, I would have been so crap deal. And the person to blame would have been myself. So I didn't get educated, I was going to lose out. I mean, I guess the incentive is, you know, what's sort of like the carrot. Sorry. I want to do that. I'm like, now on your website. Yeah. You was like, yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. I'm not a genius. Oh yeah. They love it, and it's so much more than me saying. Oh, it was critical that I learned it. Yeah. And then along your lines, like it was fun. You know what I mean? Like learning to sail is fun, and that's a skill. You can't take that away. That's so cool. Yeah. You can't lose. And you're hanging out with your friends, and you're meeting maybe people who were there for the summer or whatever. Like I know in New York, kids would come for the summer, and their parents would sign them up for sailing. And like, yeah. That's awesome. And along the way, like you don't learn to sail, you learn to like be covered with people who learn how to persevere and not give up. Like your vocab is what you're gonna do, just sit there and wait to go. Okay, no, you gotta figure it out. Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right? Like you, it wasn't just sailing. Yeah. That's so cool. Then you learn how to get calluses on your hands. It's hard work.
2-minute warning.
Just like cow. It's not working. You're doing it on your own. It's fun. Right. Race, yeah. Yeah, little force fives or little things or whatever. Then like the self-interest piece, right? Like for your house and for your driver's license. Like if I can, when I get to do this, look at what I can do now. Like you're not afraid to learn how to do anything else. Like okay, one day I need a toilet or whatever. I did that. I did everything else. right? I drove this shitty whatever, so hard to drive, and now I can drive everything. And I dealt with this terrifying moment. Like, there's so much more about the experience of learning.
Do you? I think I work with like when I'm all of these things. And I that woman I but I'm just putting it in there just because she means nothing.
You just finish up on the thought sentence. So one of the things happened is what I had planned how this was going to go. I'm going to change my plan just a little bit. Because really honestly, that's what a PBL does.
We would never know.
Well, I guess that's true. But I want you to hear it so you can hear that this happens. I'm in the middle of the very first PBL that I've tried in our school. I didn't know if it would be possible with little kids. Give it a shot. Billy's done it in the 3rd grade. Billy's really good at what he does. I don't know if this is going to fly with my kids. Let's see what happens. I had that willingness to take a risk. One thing that we go into every day is that we kind of let the class dictate the direction. You'll see that in the video. But that's a lot about what PBL is. So I kind of looking at this now. If I had this to do again, which I could if I was in the classroom, I could say, oh, you know what? Remember yesterday I told you about the 4 C's? Those don't actually exist. You have to. You have to give some reasons behind why they're the 4 C's of education. You can only choose 4. Your team can choose whichever 4 you decide. But at the end of that, you're going to present them. And you're going to explain why you chose them. You're going to give examples of where they exist in education. And then you're going to present them to the community that comes in to see them. That would be how to make this into a true maximum play. Right? So I just kind of wanted to take that moment when I realized, oh my God, I went about this all wrong, that you can still fix it during the PBL. And we've done that with the one that I'll share with you that we're doing right now. It's kind of changed things on the kids. It's a lot of fun watching sort of. Because they did not like the changes that we did. Would a group share, please? Somebody in your group be willing to just kind of what you got. It doesn't have to be anything, just bam, bullets, and then let's put them up and see if we can hear or see any commonalities. Anybody?
Sure.
All right.
Bye then.
So we have. Involve interact with others, persistence and consistency, awareness. They all involve being flexible and creative. They all had relevance to what we were talking about. They were transformative, involved contrast between different experiences that we had. They were born from time and reflection, the time to contemplate what is actually happening to see what the learning is. That may not have been evident at the time. They involved communicating with others. They were character building, and there were things that struck to really like some of our core values, core like capital. So those were our words.
Thank you. Very interesting. Another group?
Thank you.
Kind of with our various our learning experiences range from the teaching and that just happened this week.
Yeah, I was teaching how drugs interact with some of my students' brains, and some of my students are freshmen and haven't had biology yet, so they have no concept of what cells look like or do, or receivers or inhibitors. What are those words we don't understand? So I was able to find a really neat website that showed literally how the cell of the drug would interfere with the brain cells and how that would not allow the brain to do what it normally would do. So like I learned that with them. I have no idea what that looks like either. So it was really cool that I could learn that as they were learning it and get excited with them as they were getting excited. We both, like, everybody was asking questions. I was asking them questions, they were asking me questions. It was really
So we talked briefly co-learning, and I'm just going to go through the rest of it. Co-learning is creative. It was interesting for both the teacher. Someone also bought a house by themselves, and that was sort of critical. That is critical learning had to do with survival based. Learn about dead, moving life skills, learning how to sail was fun, how to swim, learn how to master swimming before you go in a boat. So there's mastery there, how to plan, organize, independence, and then how to fix their house, like fix left alone in a house, how to master house repairs. And there's a sense of survival, so confidence in the sea and conquering. And then learning to drive was, again, like a conquering feeling was really hard. Leadership, being instructor, was kind of practice smile and have that mastery.
Excellent. Thank you. Another group? One more? Two more? You can cover stuff up too. Don't worry about those things. Those are just on magnets. You can cover them up.
So we talked about real world applications, kind of also bring things outside the classroom. So kind of exploring in the community, finding experts and bringing them in, doing things that are fun and collaborating with others, and doing things with people that you enjoy, doing things with creativity, having choice in the activity that you're doing or within the activity, and then having a successful conclusion. So knowing when you're done and being able to reflect back on it and see the learning that happened during the experience that you were learning about.
Thank you.
Our group, it was interesting, as a team, all four of us told the story of a learning experience as a younger student. Some of us much younger. We that the common theme was that the learning we received was from a teacher that wanted us to learn to remember what was being learned. So 4th grade, it was dressing up as a culture, eating the foods of that culture. And even though it was a very long time ago, I feel like it's right here for me. I just remember that and thinking, that's really a different way of learning. Because when I went through school, it was very much the book and whatnot. Similar, although she's younger, a teacher wanting the class to remember a time period where the kids all took on the persona of someone in the Renaissance. And that stuck with her clearly. 4th grade, 6th grade. Another student who had a teacher take kids to a farm and shearing sheep. We're looking at what the anatomy of this animal is. I want you to touch it. I want you to feel it. And what I loved is that she said it was just so real, and I got it. That was such a great learning experience. And then Raymond shared how a biology teacher took the class to a bodyworks type of museum, and that clearly stuck with him, although I'm sure it wasn't that long ago. And just inspired him to go on into learning, and what he gleaned from that. I think we'll be with you. You were just so specific. I mean, I was learning from him, sharing that story with me. So the commonalities there were just so neat because they were all stories of during school, a school learning experience, and definitely that community of learning.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great from my perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as well. Just really quickly, because I'm trying to really be cognizant of the time, and I want to. I told you I wanted to give you that sandbox time, and I don't want to dip into that at all. But very quickly, do you see any common themes? Are there any words that you heard more than once? Would you share them with the group? Anybody?
Collaboration.
Very nice. That was awesome. The fact that collaboration was said at the same time is wonderful. Creative. Okay. Creativity, collaboration. Sorry. Yeah, I guess. I'm the tech guy. Don't like it. Okay, so communicate, collaboration, creativity, community, love it. Doesn't have to be just to see.
Relevance.
Relevance. Thank you.
Not I like the
It can be, and this is where if I was the teacher and I look at this now, I realize, wait a minute, that's kind of constrictive, not to use another C word, but that's constrictive on them. I should allow them to come up with any word that they think defines education. And so it's awesome though. PBL is cool because it's not scripted or managed. And so you can walk in and say, oh, guess what? Ha! Somebody called, plans changed. You have to do everything this way now. And just head that other direction. It's really nice. Any other?
Life skills. Yes.
And would you say that life skills and relevance could be similar to each other? Fun. Good. Fun. Love it. Anything else? We don't need, you don't have to have other things. I'm just curious.
There's the co-learning element that I thought was
Co-learning. Love it. And my job is co-teaching. So co-learning is also my job. All right, very cool. Thank you. I have a video for you. This is the video portion of my multimodal stuff.
How will today's children function in a dangerous world? Will they use to carve the future? Will they be equipped to find the answers to tomorrow's problems?
When you think about traditional learning, you think of a student sitting in a classroom and being taught that
I imagine a lot of you are still thinking
are supposed to be a sponge. The teacher tells them information and they suck it up. That's not the real world. Having them actively engaged learning about things in their community and doing projects that they care about is giving them that ownership of their learning. It's making them lifelong learners. It's giving them the critical thinking and problem solving skills that they need as soon as they walk out of your classroom into the real world. So there are a lot of different ways to approach PBL, a lot of different ways to implement it, but really it all boils down to 5 essential Ps: real-world connection, core to learning, structured collaboration, student-driven, and multifaceted assessment. The first key component of PBL is real-world connections. And really what this entails is having an authentic problem that drives the curriculum. So students are given this question, for example, what's in our water and how did it get there? And then the students choose different paths to explore that question.
One of the problems in the ocean is that with the higher amount of CO2, calcifying organisms are decreasing, which has to see how well life in the ocean lives without calcifying organisms.
When the students know that what they're doing in the classroom has an audience outside the classroom, it really helps them deepen their thinking on it. I think that is pretty authentic in terms of what the future work world holds.
So the second commonality is the PBL unit provides academic rigor. This is not something that teachers would add at the end of a unit because they learned all the content they're supposed to learn already, and so this is the fluff that they can do at the end. This is the unit. This is the way that they learn the content.
So what's your standards you're going to be covering?
We're going to do 5A, which is analyzing scenes. And this is huge in this book.
when you can show that you're incorporating the standards, building these projects that aren't fluffed, a lot of eyes and ears open, because people are hungry for that.
Structured collaboration refers to allowing the students to work together, but giving them a structure within which to work.
Our project was to create a aquaponics system, and we had several people working on it. In my case, I was kind of the team leader. 2 members of my group who were kind of just like the thinkers that would think what if we could include this? Once those two came up with the ideas, it would go through another person who was kind of like the designer and figure out, oh, how would we make it? And then it would kind of go up to me and say, and I would kind of be like the final decider.
We would never put 4 kids together at a table and say, here's a task, get it done during this time period. It's very carefully scaffolded.
There's an interesting shift in roles that happens in a PBL unit. The teacher becomes more of a facilitator and the students take more control.
You guys are the Red Cross responders. You already looked at news broadcasts. You took down some notice of wonderings. You need to take all of this and you need to bring it together.
So I have to write down aspects of the broadcast.
You got it, exactly. So Coslin's got it. Coslin can give you some ideas on how to.
But as a facilitator, the teacher needs to be able to ask good questions. She needs to redirect if necessary, you know, give hints but not answers. And that's really an interesting role for teachers to learn how to do. Multifaceted assessment refers to assessment being integrated throughout the entire PBL unit.
I do a lot of formative assessments. It's not a test at the end of the week or the end of a unit. You're doing a lot of small check-ins with the students to see where they're at and to see that they're growing along. I think it's really important to also make sure that the students are assessing themselves.
It's a process that we are really trying to bring back again to the student so that kids are part of the assessment process and that assessment is just not being done to them.
Our students would blossom under this approach. They learn that they have voice and choice. And teachers would probably, in the end, find it easier and more fulfilling. We'd probably have a whole lot less burnout. I mean, this is really an exciting way of teaching.
What we've done for the last 100 years direct teaching, for some students it works, but for most students it doesn't. So for us, project-based instruction is a way we can reach all students and get them engaged.
Right now, my favorite project is called Create Your Own Project.
My favorite project this year was in chemistry, and what it was about, we were using chemistry and reactions to create soda.
It's a video production class, and we're making a kid show. We're calling it the Dojo Show.
We're learning about spatial diffusion, Black Death, the Columbian Exchange.
Reactions like double replacement, combustion, things like that.
We're basically the teachers in these, so we're gonna create a rubric, our group contracts, and we're gonna launch this project to our class.
We're learning how to collaborate and also work towards a creative goal. It helps us get into that creative mindset that really is something that's hard to find in any other high school.
All right, so that is PBL. You saw that I underlined a bunch of stuff. It's because that's what we saw. That's what we saw with our experiences that we talked about, those great learning moments that we remembered and treasure and hang on to. That's what PBL has the opportunity to give to them. Okay, so at this time, I know I have some stuff after that, and I do want to get back into the 4 C's. But I'm looking at the clock, and you've got 6 minutes till I promised you sandbox time. At that point, I will stop talking, and you will take that idea that you thought about a little while ago and start to maybe think about how you could present a challenge to your students or some sort of inquiry-based learning to your students, and maybe, and not for like Monday, but maybe a couple weeks from now. Okay? But before we do that, I think it's really important for you to see Billy and listen to Billy talk about his experience with this. Like I said, if there was an expert, this might be it. So let me toggle over to Google and let me show you. There's Billy.
Hey, what's up?
Say hi, Billy.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
We got you, buddy.
Billy, when you add the V? That's new.
What's up?
When did you add the V?
Oh, well, I'm Cochran.
There, I got.
I'm getting a little feedback from the mic.
Yeah. Let me see what I can do. Try it now.
Okay, how's it sound?
You're okay.
All right, I'm definitely hearing myself.
Hang on 1 second. Well, give it a shot, man.
Okay, if you mute. Let's see. All right, good. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, that's better. Beautiful. All right, guys. So Tom's left me with a couple of minutes here. I have like 10 or 15 minutes worth of discussion, but I'm going to squeeze this in as quickly as I can. As Tom said, my name is Billy Corcoran. I'm a third grade teacher in Old Orchard Beach. I'm also an adjunct at USM with Becca Redmond, who's in the room with you guys today. Totally wish I could be there. I'm hearing some awesome conversation. I think a lot of what I have to say will really resonate with you and be reflective of those conversations you're having there today. So I started with PBL in 2012. I started on a small scale. I'll dive into a little bit what that first project looked like. And what I've done now is I'm at the point where 4 years later, you know, I'm rolling out 3 projects a year with a third grade team. So it's taken a little time for my project-based background to evolve, and you know, but you got to find a starting point. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. Boom, here we are. You got me?
Nope.
No?
No, we got your face.
Sorry, guys. Go to screen share. Entire screen. How about now?
Yep.
All right, there we go. That's better. So let's just quickly start with the research. I mean, project-based isn't just a cool trend. It's proven. And no matter if your students are scoring well in the SAT, the research shows that nearly half students entering college just aren't ready. And I heard some conversation. I was eavesdropping. I was over here on the Google Hangout. And I want to address this. How do students learn best? Because that's what it's really all about. And I want to start here because there's a huge disconnect. There's a disconnect between what we believe in, and as I'm flashing out these conditions for powerful and productive learning, a lot of the conversation I heard from you and the list Tom made, you're starting to see this. It's repeating. But what we actually practice looks much different. You know, desks and rows. Often we have cookie cutter curriculums we have to follow. There's no real world application. Teachers lecturing all the time. A focus on grades versus focus on mastery and learning. Teaching to the test, lack of relevance. So for me, it's like, why is there this big disconnect in what we know is best learning and what we actually practice? And I'm going to cruise through my makeover of my classroom. One of those conditions for learning is having a comfortable environment. I'm not saying you guys got to go and do what I did right here, but in order to implement PBL effectively, you really want the space to match. So this is my room when I first started in July 2014. You know, very traditional room, got a teacher desk taking up big real estate. And then this is what the transformation of my physical space. Now, this is a room that will match PBL. Vibrant colors, screams collaboration. You can see here, I launched my teacher desk in the top right corner. I got a kidney table. So there's no seating chart, not for me, not for my kids. I expect my kids to make, you know, inclusive decisions based on what we're doing that day. And I trust that the model, PBL, is what will engage them, not the carrot. Hey, you're going to get an extra recess at the end of the day. No, it's the motivation that my students are doing real work for real audiences, and they've got the space to actually get that work done. And so shifting to PBL, I just kind of want to give you the 5 keys in my mind, how you can make that shift to PBL and tell you my story. As I said, back in 2012, I was tried my first project. It was supposed to last about 2 weeks, but what I did was I manipulated a project. And in the resources, you'll see pblu.org. You'll also see BIE.org. So during your sandbox time, you might want to check out those resources. Pick a project and roll with it. That's how I started. So on pblu.org, I found the entrepreneurial cycle project. I left a link that kind of details my project. Because of time, I'm not going to go in and talk to you about my project and give you the details that made it successful. But go ahead and you can read my blog in those resources. PBL really is a shift in mindset, all right? You know, I think that we're all comfortable with the traditional form of education because myself, everyone, we all went through that. So for us, it's kind of hard to make that shift, isn't it? You know, and PBL is a big paradigm shift, but we got to realize that, you know, it's 2016 and we got classrooms that's looking like it's 1916. And to me, that's a big problem. Not only that, our instructional models. School is not for us, the adults. It's for students. So I'm seeing too many adult-centered schools, and this is your opportunity to be the leader, to be an advocate for your kids. Because remember, it's all about the kids, and it's about the world that they are going to enter. We need to get them ready for that world. Next, model risk-taking. So in the process of this paradigm shift, I really got an opportunity to model to my students risk-taking. You know, PBL is a big risk, and I let my kids know, hey, this was new to me. We're going to take this risk together, and we're going to uncover the possibilities together. So kids are naturally curious when they come into school, and I think that we all have the best intentions for students, but somewhere along the way, we're unintentionally making learning miserable. And we got kids that come in on the left looking all, you know, being who they are, but transforming them into something that we don't want them to be. You know, again, getting back to teaching in silos, moving from class to class with bells, following specific directions, a focus on grades. Next, let's just remember project-based learning, it's just the lens. So our standards are standards. They're not a learning path. And PBL creates authenticity, it creates relevance, it gives students voice and choice, and it's just our path to achieve those standards. So your kids will tune in, your kids will care if they have voice and choice in their in projects or of their interests and of their passions. I would not teach if I had to go back to a traditional setting. Lastly, I promise here, we'll get you to your sandbox time. I know I'm 2 minutes over. Tom's gonna be build the culture. You know, together we can do more. PBL, it's a we mentality. You know, when I first started, people thought I was crazy. They couldn't really understand what I was trying to do in my classroom. And now we've got to the point where we've got different organizations in Old Orchard reaching out to us to do work. And it's starting to spread through the middle school to the high school. And this is creating more opportunities for us to be involved in the community. We want our kids to care about community. We want our kids to have empathy and give back to the community. So down the line, they'll be more willing to invest in our future students. And I'll leave you with this thought from Eric Scheniger. You know, PBL is hard work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's worth it. It's hard work. It's worth it. You know, if it's worth it to you, you're going to find a way. If not, you're just going to make an excuse. So I encourage you to, you know, during your sandbox time, really think about what will be best for your kids. And I appreciate your time. Sorry I had to rush through that.
Sorry, Billy.